Good afternoon. Today we're speaking with Dr. Carlos Villanueva Soto. Dr. Villanueva Soto is a class of 2023 UMHS graduate, and he has just matched at the University of Puerto Rico in Carolina, Puerto Rico, right outside of San Juan in internal medicine. And Dr. Carlos Villanueva Soto, I want to wish you congratulations and welcome you today. And could you tell us a little bit about your upcoming residency and what it feels like to match?
Oh, first of all, thank you, Scott, for having me over.
Sure.
So how it feels to match, and to start residency this year, it feels amazing. And it doesn't just feel amazing because of the fact that I matched. It's just also because of the fact that I match at my first rank of order list hospital. I feel that that is a really big accomplishment in my book. And I know that for a lot of people studying medicine in St. Kitts, it's been the same. So that's basically it. I feel ecstatic and I feel amazing to be back home.
Yeah, that was one thing I wanted to say, Dr. Villanueva. It must be really awesome to match back home in Puerto Rico. It must feel really special and amazing.
So yeah, coming back home to the place that saw me grow, that saw me become who I am. It's just it's great. And studying abroad in St. Kitts and moving throughout different states of the U.S. Really gave me a lot of new attributes. I learned new skills. I developed myself in the medical aspect outside, and starting from St. Kitts, learning from through basic sciences, moving to clinical rotations. And I am just really motivated to continue expanding that skill set here in Puerto Rico. Not just coming back as a full made physician post residency, but to actually train here during residency and help the communities here while I am learning to become an internist. It's a really great experience.
Wow. And what are some of your short-term goals and maybe some long-term goals for your residency in Puerto Rico?
So things first, get used to the residency lifestyle. I've spoken to many of my colleagues throughout rotations that graduated from UMHS, and I know getting used to residency lifestyle it's a big leap from being a medical student. But one thing is that I am sure of that I feel ready already to make that leap and to develop myself as a full-blown physician during residency. So that's one of the first things. The second thing is keep learning because we never stop learning once we move outside from medical school and jump as a physician in a resident position. I think that is where the majority of our learning occurs. So I feel that that is going to be one of the other short-term things that I'm looking forward to in residency. And the third is research. I want to get involved in research. I want to
Great.
contribute to the scientific community here in Puerto Rico.
Great, great. And could you tell us one or two things that you really liked about studying at UMHS, and also why you think that UMHS is so popular amongst med students from Puerto Rico?
So I feel that UMHS is really appealing because first of all, it's the facilities of the island that are just state of the art. They are great. Going down from the anatomy lab, starting on first semester, moving throughout courses, neuroanatomy, introduction to clinical medicine, the practice that we get there, learning how to write notes, how to do a proper physical exam. I feel that we leave St. Kitts very prepared to jump into clinical rotations. And additionally, we have a really efficient way of doing it by transitioning into Maine. In my case, it was a little bit different because of the fact of COVID. That was the online portion of it. Regardless, I felt really prepared to jump into clinical medicine, leaving St. Kitts. So I think that along with the quality of education that St. Kitts offers, I feel that it's very appealing, and that's one of the reasons. And I feel that UMHS is really popular with the community in Puerto Rico because of there's been so many success stories
Right.
from coming out of St. Kitts
Yeah.
already that it's kind of the norm. From people to actually consider studying abroad. You, I mean, that is one of the biggest things. And the second thing that I feel that UMHS is really popular among students from Puerto Rico is that from experience in most of the hospitals that I set foot in, not only in United States, but mainly in Puerto Rico, UMHS already has a amazing standing and an amazing, we have set the bar to what is expected of medical students and how to behave and how to be prepared and how to actually practice and learn medicine at hospitals. So the attendings and the residents really speak highly of UMHS quality of the UMHS students. So that really speaks about UMHS and how we are doing things right at St. Kitts.
Great. And is there anything else that you would like to tell current or prospective students about or alumni about UMHS? And I'm just curious, did you first learn about UMHS by one of the info seminars that we do throughout Puerto Rico several times a year?
So actually, the story of how I applied to medical school goes back to Hurricane Maria and
Right.
how that kind of set me back in terms of taking my MCAT in time in order to apply by a certain deadline for schools in Puerto Rico. And I opted out of waiting for a whole nother year to apply to Puerto Rico, and I took the leap into St. Kitts. And it's funny you mentioned about if I actually saw somebody talk about UMHS, what does UMHS offer in person? I actually saw Earl Maynard at the
Right.
Inter-American University of Puerto Rico at Arecibo. After I graduated from UPR, I was completing some courses prior to the MCAT with the Inter-American University, and then I saw Earl, and that kind of you know consolidated everything about St. Kitts. I felt really at peace, choosing St. Kitts as my option, and I just jumped into it. One of the things I would like to tell prospective students and actual students from UMHS is the same thing that I told some of the colleagues back in the island when I was doing a presentation on trauma for one of the clubs down in St. Kitts. It was that I don't regret for a second studying medicine in St. Kitts. I don't regret for a second moving to St. Kitts to continue my lifelong dream. And since the beginning, I wasn't really sure what the future was going to bring, to be honest. But I always kept the North and I kept my goals really clear and I did everything and everything that I could ever do to be where I am today. And I can just say I'm really grateful for this experience. And, I am becoming who I want to become thanks to the decisions that I've made throughout these last few years. And so, if you're thinking about studying medicine and you're thinking about St. Kitts, go for it. You're thinking about UMHS, go for it. You will be prepared enough to match where you want to match.
Great. And those are definitely some wise words. And anything else that you'd like to say to students from Puerto Rico or students in general considering UMHS?
Go for it. Go for St. Kitts, go for UMHS. I mean,
Okay.
we're getting really prepared. Hospitals are already talking about UMHS students big time. We've set the bar really high, and we're just going to keep improving on that.
Okay, great. All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time today, Dr.
Thank you.
Villanueva Soto. And I wish you the best of luck in your residency. And we look forward to hearing about more success stories from you in the future. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott.